Good evening. Masal khair. Welcome to everybody. It's a special pleasure tonight, as well as honor, to have so many guests come here to the American University in Cairo. First among them, of course, is His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you so much for coming, Minister Shoukry. Welcome also to all of the delegates who come from so many countries and from universities across Egypt. We're very, very proud to have you with us. You honor us. It's wonderful to be the hosts of the Cairo International Model United Nations. One reason that we are also proud here is that this is something that is special about the American University in Cairo in particular. We love co-curricular or extracurricular activities here. We have serious academics and coursework, but where our students really have a chance to show leadership and initiative is in student clubs like CIMUN. And there's no club that is more prestigious or demands more effort and attention and commitment than the Cairo International Model United Nations. So I congratulate all of the members of CIMUN. I congratulate all the delegates for putting on a wonderful event these past several days here at the American University. Thank you once again for coming, and thank you again, Mr. Minister and leaders of CIMUN.
Good evening. I'm delighted to be here this evening, and we'll see how we will contend with both the substance of my presentation, but also with the little chill in the air and the echo. But if you will bear with me, I'll try to be as concise as possible. President Ricciardone, President of the American University in Cairo, Professor Walid, MUN Program Faculty Advisor, Mr. Rizk, Organizing Committee Head, Mr. Zaki, Secretary General, and Ms. Shafiq, Graduate Advisor. I'd like to thank the Cairo International Model United Nations for inviting me to this event. I also take this opportunity to congratulate you, Frank, on your assumption of the presidency of the AUC. I'm confident that your valuable experience will contribute towards enhancing the important role that the university undertakes in the field of educational excellence in Egypt and in promoting the rich ties that exist between the Egyptian and American peoples. I've had the opportunity to discuss the contribution of the American University with you on several occasions, and I am confident that the long history of this university and the nature of its alumni, which have always represented a very special composition of the best that Egypt has to offer, will continue to take advantage of this institution for the benefit primarily of Egypt and also to become ambassadors of the Egyptian-American relationship. It is always a pleasure to speak to students and the youth. It is even more unique to do so on the eve of the Day of Egyptian Diplomacy, which is tomorrow, as we celebrate tomorrow the 95th anniversary of the resumption of the work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after achieving independence in 1922. Ladies and gentlemen, MUN delegates, given your current role as delegates to the MUN, I take this opportunity to focus on multilateral issues primarily. We should all be aware that the multilateral system does indeed require a critical appraisal given the increasing complex global agenda. Adding to the level of complexity is that the global geopolitical and geoeconomic configuration is rapidly changing, while the institutions of global governance have remained the same, reflective only of the era of their creation in the aftermath of World War II. We find that the current multilateral structures do not give the adequate weight or the sufficient space for the global South to participate meaningfully. Enabling all member states and enhancing their participation and adjusting the institutions in a fair and effective manner are goals that we must achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt believes that the meaningful participation of the developing countries is the only guarantee for a multilateral system that enjoys legitimacy, credibility, and that respects justice and promotes fairness, and thereby contributes to the maintenance of international peace, security, and stability. As currently a non-permanent member of the Security Council, it has been our policy to undertake this responsibility by working to uphold the interests of the entire membership. Though we are elected on behalf of Africa, the responsibilities on the membership of the Council must always be directed to serve the totality of the organizations and not any specific interest group or objectives that exist. We have also taken the initiative to elevate the level of coordination among the 3 African state members of the Council, referred to as the A3. In the same vein, we are conscious of our responsibility in representing the Arab states on the Council. This will definitely enable us to project the positions of the South more effectively on the Security Council. During our presidency of the Council in May 2016, and building on the best practice established by the United Nations Security Council and the African Union Peace and Security Council to conduct regular consultations, upon our initiative in 2006, the United Nations Security Council visited Cairo to hold consultations with the Council of the League of Arab States. Last week, the League adopted a decision to institutionalize this consultative mechanism in a recognition of its great value in formulating constructive initiatives to overcome some of the challenges that prevail on the international scene. At the forefront of these challenges is the spread of terrorism. For that reason, counterterrorism has become a thematic priority of Egypt's membership in the Security Council. I highlight in this regard the initiative during our presidency of the Council in May 2016 for the Counter-Terrorism Committee to develop and submit a comprehensive international framework for countering terrorist narratives and ideology. In recognition that fighting terrorism extends beyond the material dimension of foreign terrorist fighters, finance, and even provisions of arms. There's also an intellectual and immaterial battle. After all, it is in the minds of men and women that terrorist acts are born, and it is in their minds that these acts should be prevented. In parallel, it is important to strive to develop the Council's approach to the notion of peacekeeping, striving to inject a comprehensive approach to conflict resolution. Equally important is the need to demonstrate the imperative for a continuum in the nature and scope of the response to the multidimensional and complex peace and security challenges facing the international community. We still call for greater synergies and coherence in the deployment of conflict prevention, management, and resolution, as well as long-term reconstruction and development tools. Ladies and gentlemen, I have highlighted the work of the peace and security pillar of the United Nations. That is not to say that we devote less attention to the 2 other remaining pillars, namely development and human rights. In fact, we are encouraged that for the first time, the United Nations system has adopted a universal developmental agenda that has identified our collective sustainable development goals and objectives. Egypt has been consistently promoting this agenda and its implementation. We have been among the first group of 22 countries to present their voluntary national review of the implementation of the 2030 Agenda at the July 2016 High-Level Political Forum. We have also translated the 17 Sustainable Development Goals into a National Sustainable Development Strategy 2030. We should, however, be diligent that the ambitious plans of the 2030 Agenda risks remaining mere aspirations without sufficient resources and the means of implementation. The United Nations has a strong moral voice and is a great podium from which to echo this call for both a qualitative and quantitative shift in the means of implementation of the new Sustainable Development Goals. As the World Bank keeps emphasizing, we need to shift from billions to trillions. We should highlight that the United Nations system is also an important depository of sustainable development know-how and knowledge. We look forward to a more effective management of the United Nations system's capacity to support sustainable development, to meet the needs of our countries and especially of those of our brethren Africans. As regards human rights, the United Nations Human Rights Council is at the forefront of the international community's efforts to enhance and promote and protect these rights universally. Though we are increasingly at risk of eroding the credibility of this institution if efforts continue to utilize it for political purposes and by targeting specific states. The multilateral system should also pay equal attention to the comprehensive nature of human rights that should encompass the political, economic, and social dimensions of these important rights. Ladies and gentlemen, MUN delegates, we believe that we can only achieve these ambitious goals of reform of the multilateral agenda through the mobilization of all our precious human resources, the youth being primarily among them in an effort to contribute fully in the emerging multi-stakeholders diplomacy. There could not be a better partner in this endeavor than a group like this audience, with energetic youth that are well versed in international relations and multilateral institutions. Our engagement with you in this context is not new. Many former MUN delegates have joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They remain closely involved until now in multilateral relations, serving Egypt and furthering global peace. Many of them are giving back to the AUC as professors of practice. I see this partnership growing as greater attention to this event grows. The experience that you will acquire in the next few days as MUN delegates is the first step towards an in-depth awareness of international diplomacy. I trust you will build on it wisely in preparing yourselves for the future as potential colleagues in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to future occasions. Thank you very much.